So, hey, it's Minjo, and I am the editor for the Intro to BTS series on this channel. And I guess on request, I decided to make this little mini-series where I commentate on every single aspect of the series to explain my editing choices and my style, maybe to give advice for future ARMY editors if they want to like emulate my style or something, but anyways, that's all it is. So first things first, this is not a tutorial series. I am not going to be teaching you guys how to edit. I think there's a lot of channels that teach people how to use certain software and certain techniques already. I mean, I'll talk about why I used a certain technique, but I won't say how you do it and all that stuff. That can be done elsewhere. And another thing, I do like to ramble, so, but I'll try to keep things related to BTS in a way, so if I end up talking off topic for a bit, I probably will edit that out, so it'll be less boring to listen to. Okay, so another section I guess I will do is answering questions out loud, because I do kind of want to interact with more people more. So I don't have a questions box, and I don't plan on opening any sort of questions box soon for any like accounts I have. So I guess for now, if you have questions, you want me to answer them out loud in the next episode where we talk about episode 1, I can probably just leave them in the comment section here and I'll probably just read it. And if I think it's appropriate for me to answer, I'll probably say it out loud. If it's really short, then I can probably just write it out. But yeah, it has to be appropriate though. So questions, like personal questions, like what's my real name, what do I do in real life, I'm not going to answer those. I'm only going to answer questions about being an ARMY and how I feel, or not how I feel, but like I'll answer questions about BTS and whatever series it is. I won't answer questions about other ARMYs in particular because I don't feel like that's probably very productive. So unless I like worked with them closely before, otherwise I won't answer any questions about that. So those are the restrictions that I'm laying out. Also, yeah, just if it's just questions about BTS or this editing this series, I will answer those. Anything else I'm not answering. So because there are certain questions I know people are going to ask, I kind of have like a couple that I'm just going to answer right now, so you don't ever have to ask them again. So let's just get started with this little mini frequently asked questions section. No, I'm not. I am completely self-taught, so all of this is just, I've just done this for a lot of years, and I just like watching lots of documentaries. And that's how I came to be the editor I am today. I don't have one. Never had one. The end. I do have a Twitter. It's just, I go by a different name. I mean, the one that has my name that I use here is also one that I own, but that's my art Twitter. I barely draw anything, but I did pin something there so you could actually find the one I'm active at, so if you want to, you can follow, but I don't know, I'm not interested in getting followers, so, and I have interests outside of BTS, so you were probably gonna get bored if you were only here for BTS. Sorry. Okay, so this is a bit of a tricky question because I do get these a lot, like, oh, why didn't you talk about this thing, about this member, and oh, why didn't you use this footage? Usually my first straightforward answer is I couldn't find anything on it because I couldn't confirm it, or if it was written, actually it was extra harder to do it because they didn't say it, so I can't get the sound bites for it. It's a bit tricky to go around, or I just couldn't find that information anywhere and I don't know where you got it from. Another reason why I probably didn't use it is because especially if it's like fan taken footage. Usually I try not to use those either, because there's a lot of restrictions on how you can use fan cams. And some fan sites, I believe, are not okay to use, and it's kind of hard for me to track which one it is. So it's not worth the hassle, so I just don't use them. Also, another reason why I probably didn't talk about a certain thing is because I have a time limit. So it has to be less than, each episode I make has to be less than 10 minutes. It's a restriction I placed for myself. I think I've only broken it once. I think that was Jimin's episode, but that was me just straining really hard to cram lots of information in. So the reason why it's 10 minutes is because I think this is a bit of a harsh truth that I think I'm going to say for a lot of people, and it might be a bit disappointing. A casual viewer and a casual listener doesn't have that great of an attention span. Technically, time is a very, very valuable resource. You cannot expect someone to just simply sit down and like watch a whole 45 minutes of something. Like even this entire series, I don't expect people to like sit through the entire thing. Like the most important part is that introduction episode. That's all that really matters probably to a lot of people. And it's short, it's simple, it says a lot of basic things. And I think that's my job is accomplished there. I can't put more, and I'm limited by that. So most times, even for me, but yeah, it's just the time limit thing. Because most times, even for me, I don't even like to, unless people are like me, who are probably willing to sit through like whole hour-length documentaries just to learn about something. I don't think that's a very usual thing people do. Most people just want quick bites and stuff, so this is the best thing I could come up with. And I think with those limitations, I hope I did an okay job. So that's the reason why this isn't any longer. This is the reason why I can't put as much information. And yeah, because, you know, we have to, when you're making introductions, you have to have a lot more, you have to set the bar a bit lower. So you have to, you know, make it more user-friendly for people, and that's basically the reason why. Also, rendering like 10 minutes is really hard and breaks my computer. I mean, it's a good computer, but I love my baby, so I don't want to hurt it too much. Okay, now that we've gotten over those questions, I think let's just get started. We're not doing episode 1 this time. That's for the next one, because that can be really long. So we're just going to get started on the teaser, simply because the teaser is also important. And, you know, it requires some appreciation. So we have the project here, so I'll go into it if I need to, but we're just gonna go off of the one off of YouTube, simply because stuff is easier, I guess, but you know, let's just use that because everyone else uses it. So let's just get started. We're gonna just go full mode. Yeah, that should work. So I'm going to replay this a couple times as I speak, and I think this is a good place to introduce why I started this. The reason why is because, you know, I saw lots of people on Twitter talking about like, oh yeah, we need a good intro series. I think this is all the things that I want to talk about. This is things that we don't want to talk about. And I don't know what I wanted to do, and I was just like, yeah, okay. I haven't edited in 2 years. I guess I'll try. So this trailer is meant to be a sort of a test drive, sort of like a bit of a pitch to what I feel that I wanted to do, including like a title and concept and everything. So we're just gonna play that again, and I think it's gonna just talk about the reason why. But anyways, I don't know if I really wanted to do this, because this was all the way back in April. I didn't know if I want to commit 4 months of my time into doing this, so that's the reason why it was the way that it was. So anyways, this is a basic introduction to how I wanted this to come out of. This was just a preview of how I wanted the series to come out as. So yeah, it's a little bit extra serious because I felt like I was overcompensating for a lot more humorous takes on this, but anyways, let's just get through the different steps. So this is, in a way, an elevator pitch to what I want to do, something that I could use to like shop around other armies and ask, hey, do you want to work on something like this? I ultimately did this all on my own afterwards, after a lot of thought. But yeah, let's get started on this part. So I chose this song, so Introduction Youth, it's from their Japanese album, one of them. And it's a great song because RM just introduces every single member, and he talks essentially about kind of what BTS stands for, very, very, very broad terms. It's sort of, yeah, it's just kind of poetic and it's kind of cute, and I think it was good to use. So, and also it's in English, so hopefully for many people who don't know BTS and they were just learning about them, they might have a little bit of a surprise, like, oh wow, they speak English. You know, it's sort of a way to familiarize with people, because people like familiar things, so that includes language. So if someone comes in like speaking the language, they are more at ease about this. So I think this was an excellent choice for like a teaser of some sorts. And you'll see this principle be applied in future episodes, especially the first one and RM's episode, where I still have parts where they're speaking in English. So anyways, let's just begin. So a great thing about the song is that this has it has a very consistent clapping beat through it. So that means it has a very steady beat and it's very easy to edit to. Like, it's really, like, it's kind of a bit of a thing that I do all the time. I just edit things to the beat if I can, whether it's the person speaking or whether it's the person, or it's the song. So like when I say by the person speaking, that means like their rises and the falls in their voice, I edit to that too. Anyways, it's just something I do because I used to do a lot more projects that had to do more with music, so that's the reason why. So you'll see as we're gonna go through this part, like each time the clap happens, the scene changes and it helps give that sense of flow. Another thing that we also do, as we're gonna just start going in, is just feel the sense of motion, because you see like where your eyes lead to, it goes in the same direction. So I'm gonna explain that once we get there.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go back, and especially this part, so this is where it starts. So we're gonna go back here, and I think, like I said, I just like this section a lot. So we're gonna just watch Yoongi get his finger, and then he's gonna move in this direction. Follow my mouse, he's gonna be moving in this direction. He's gonna move the finger in this direction, and then it's gonna switch to these guys, shifting in this direction, to the right. And I think this is a really good cut because it's very satisfying, and it does, like I said, show a sense of motion between different clips, like that. And another like sense of movement, like way we do sense of movement, is we're gonna just see this part here.
Yeah.
So we're gonna go back, and this one's a little bit, this is the most like probably striking part, because yes, one, it's Jimin, and two, you can see the part where he snaps right as he makes impact, as he snaps up, his head up and his arm up, we move directly to the next thing. So it's like as if he is hitting, we do this sort of effect where it looks like he's hitting the screen, and then that causes the screen to move along with the clapping, and it makes, so in this sense, when he snaps and then the scene changes while the clap is happening, it gives this sense of like sort of fusion between, like association between the sound and the visual sense, and I think that's one great element of editing is to basically make those different channels, the audio and the visual sense, tied together. And that's the reason why this is a very satisfying scene. Same thing with the next one when in Jin's performance where he punches the air. Same thing, same principle. So we're gonna skip this again. So we're just gonna watch this again. So we're gonna do this again. So we're gonna take a look and I'm gonna show you where it happens. So bam, bam, bam. So that's where it, so that's just a couple seconds and there's a lot to unpack here. And yeah, that's where you put a sense of editing. So when you do a sense of movement and you want to show impact, but you want to do it subtly, this is one way to do it. And then we have this one because this is essentially about all 7 members, so we need to have a lot of shots of all of them being happy together. And then we begin RM's sort of monologue at the beginning, I guess. It's a monologue. And
has no age. It just stays there beautifully. And it's
so we're gonna get to this part. So these are just throwaway scenes of them working, them being together, and just doing their work as, you know, idols. And then we're gonna get to the next part. And this section is also important because it's sort of a subtle timeline of sorts. It's supposed to show this sort of progression and how they've grown and what they've achieved and all these important events to them. I didn't get very much time, so it's just like, you know, show a couple things. So, you know, the first one is their No More Dream, their very first performance, one of their first stages ever. I think that holds a lot of meaning for them. And the next one, I believe this one is when they first won. I think when they first, yeah, I think this was their first win at a music show, I believe. Well, one of them. This was when they won for I Need You. I think it was back in 2015. I wasn't around at that time, but even if I wasn't, I think this clip is very impactful because you can just see this part on TV. I think I'm going to replay it for you all to show. Is that RM, it's just like you can just see the guys looking very straight, really, really shocked, and RM just sort of gives this like incredulous look to the MC and just like disbelieving eyes, like, oh, did we just win this? Did we deserve this? And then the MC's kind of looking there like, yes, you do deserve this. You worked hard. And I think that that moment was just such a big moment for them. Like, I wasn't around at the time, but I think even then you can sort of feel that energy from them. So we're gonna just show that part. So yeah, it's very, very, yeah, it's very, very brief, but it's very important. Next part is the Mama Award. Very, very important to them. I feel like I should have used the MMA one, but I just think everyone just likes this part where they group hug, and I think that's just, you know, I'm pretty sure it was a very impactful event. I was also not around at that time either, so I think it must have been very emotional for them. It was, yeah, going through this footage, it was kind of hard. And of course this award, I also wasn't around when this happened, like at the time, but I think this was also very important to them, and it's also important for us, so I think it was worth showing. This one was this year, and I don't know, it's not like an award or anything, but I think this one's also important because I think getting that Billboard interview was probably something that must have been very surreal for a lot of people, because they're like, yeah, BTS has gotten an interview with Billboard and they're getting this much treatment. This is just such a shock to us. And I think that might have been a turning point for us as we sort of witness, like, maybe a potential change in, like, you know, perspectives and change in culture or something, or just, you know, a change of views and thoughts, and I think that's why this is important. So these are just all 7 members, so this is like a bit of a, this is a teaser, you know, so it's just supposed to just introduce all the members. this song is also excellent because RM just like lists all the names. Then we have the different names. So because this is the very brief teaser section part, this is where you introduce the face and you have the name. So the first thing people will see is be like, oh, this name, RM, this face, or Jin, this face. And once again, just to talk about the way of showing some sort of movement, is that, you know, sometimes these clips do zoom in, zoom out, and they pan, so then sometimes I make the text move with that. It's very brief, very subtle. It's kind of a little bit easier to see when something is stationary, for example, like V's clips. Or Jungkook, yeah, definitely Jungkook's. You can even see this thing shifting to the side. Jungkook's was a little tricky because I had to decrease the size of the text because his stage name's a bit long. So yeah, this is also important, and this also expresses, when I was trying to come up with how I wanted to make the series, how I wanted to portray each member and how I wanted to focus, make time to focus individually on each member, because each one is a very different, multifaceted person, and you know, you can see them have all sorts of colors, all sorts of moods, and I think that's something that should be expressed. Okay, so we're gonna get into like probably the near end, so we're gonna just explain that. Okay, so we get here, and this part is kind of shows a little bit more hints on how I thought I wanted to portray each and every member. So then this clip and the one right here kind of shows like, oh, I am going to talk and elaborate and focus a bit more on their dedication to working hard for making music, and the fact that they do make music and put a lot of thought into what they do. So, and also, you know, Hobie dancing, practicing in the back shows, you know, his dedication to dance, and I think that's something that each and every member has. They have something that they are very dedicated to, and they are very, very dedicated to doing their jobs. So they do have serious moments. They aren't just, you know, goofy caricatures that sometimes people portray them as. And of course we get lots of group shots because, you know, they get along well, or at least what we can tell from what we get. And you know, they get chats together after after shows. They celebrate each other's birthdays, and you know, they have fun together. I mean, yeah, this was, like I said, this entire teaser, I kind of overcompensated a little bit by putting lots of serious shots, but then I did try to put some humorous shots. Anyways, that's there. And then of course we end with this shot. It's a really wonderful shot because it got all 7 of them. And a little bit of symbolism here. So there's this part where RM says, so you call us young and we'll never get old. Very poetic. And this is English, I'm not sure. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. It's really impressive. It's a very impressive line, and I liked it a lot. So like, this part has a bit of symbolism, this little clip here. So you can see in this clip, so here the clip starts out very colorful, and it sort of comes to the part where, you know, so you can call us young, and then it fades. In the end, it becomes less saturated. And I think that's a little bit of a cool, subtle visual cue that goes with the lyric. And then we get to the end part where we just get the title screen. So here required a little bit of editing because this whole entire, this track actually is a lot longer, and I didn't have enough time to do everything else, so just kept it short. So what I did was that I just cut it up and then did some audio editing and then added a sort of reverb at the very end. So by reverb, I mean right here. So, sorry. So here we say, so if you should see here, we have the audio, and then we have this nested sequence. So inside, you can see me like controlling this so it will sound like this. So I just lower the volume there, and then here, over here, Oh, didn't want that. And then we get reverb, and then we'll just add reverb in there, and it gives a very strong echo effect. So that's how that's done. And that's about it. This is the title card. I kept this, I intended to try and push people to understand that BTS also stands for Beyond the Scene, but you know, at this point I kind of gave up. It's still there though, because it has a very nice diagonal shape, diamond, has a very nice diamond shape. It's very nice. If I shorten this to BTS, it would look really weird. So I decided this was the thing. This was the tagline for it, like a little subheading for it, but you know, I decided not to use it and just use it as room to put the episode title or put the introduction title. So, oh, a shame it wasn't there. So, I guess we'll just deal with it. And that's about it. And then, of course, you know, I have credits here. Keep it minimal. Just have the links to all the other channels that are important, and the playlist title. So that's the end of this one. I'll probably make time to make the next episodes later when I have time, because I'm busy now. But if you have questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll probably answer them, and that's about it. I hope this was helpful, even if it was just the trailer. Thanks.